Welcome to Flashback, the show that takes you back in time to some of the greatest moments in sports history. Today, we tell you about an anthology KO, the culmination of the greatest rivalry of the new millennium, when a luminous counterattack put an end to 42 rounds of rare intensity between two sacred monsters of boxing. So we took our trusty time machine and headed for the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Vegas on December 8th, 2012. Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Márquez face off for the fourth and final time. Are you ready? Let's go. In the world of boxing, few fights entertain the crowds enough to warrant a rematch. But sometimes, a handful of historic rivalries can lead to a trilogy. Sugar Ray Leonard versus Roberto Duran, Ali versus Frazier, Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. However, on this 8th of December 2012, Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Márquez are about to step into the ring together for the fourth time in 8 years. In 36 rounds, the two men have had ample time to get to know each other. In fact, they know each other by heart. The two legends, in the twilight of their careers, respect each other as much as they fear each other. Pacquiao and Márquez are cut from the same cloth. Their career paths, though extremely different, have the same genesis. A childhood spent in a slum, surrounded by drugs and crime.
One down.
The former in the Philippines, the second in Mexico. Boxing saved them. A story like so many others. Except that Pacquiao and Márquez are not mere pugilists. No, they are geniuses, conquerors, multiple world champions in several wooden categories. Living gods in their respective countries. When Juan Manuel Márquez steps into the ring, it's to end it all. To do so, he must achieve what he has never been able to do. Beat Manny Pacquiao, his greatest rival, the man considered to be the best boxer of the last decade. With a grave expression and a closed face, his opponent awaits, ready to wage war on him one last time.
Good luck, touch him up.
Bailiff's trying to push Pacquiao back. He wants to come out of his corner to the center of the ring. Now the bell rings.
The gong sounds, but the audience is already on its feet. 3 fights haven't satisfied them. They want more. Bulls come down from the stands. The crowd has chosen its favorite. It will be the Mexican.
Freddie Roach said holding the pads from his hands have felt heavier than at any time. So both guys are strong.
No time to stare at each other. These two want to do battle. Márquez knows only too well how decisive a first round can be. Almost a decade earlier, on May 8, 2004, it was at this stage of the fight that he almost lost everything. Surprised from the outset by the Filipino, still unknown to the general public, the featherweight world champion went down 3 times. Pacquiao thought he'd done the hard part. But Dinamita Márquez had the experience to come back and dominate the rest of the match. The result was a frustrating draw, synonymous with a rematch to come.
A draw. Both fighters keep their respective titles.
Since then, the fighters have matured. This time, the first round is not as consequential. Little by little, the face of the fight took shape. On both sides, combinations were coming thick and fast. More aggressive, Pacman dictates the exchange. The puncher takes a slight advantage on the point. On the other side, Dinamita waits for the right moment to make his move. He shows up in the middle of the third rally.
Because if he...
He drops Pacquiao for the first time in 4 fights. Manny's knocked down by an overhand right hand. There's the power of Juan Márquez for the first time. Manny Pacquiao...
For the first time, Márquez sent his rival to the mat.
It may not have been a home run, but it was a double into the corner.
And Márquez is hurt. He's better be very glad.
4 years earlier, on March 15, 2008, the roles were reversed. It was the super featherweight champion's turn to taste the ground after a lightning counter from his challenger. The fight had been, in their image, technical, fierce, and spectacular. Perhaps more so than the previous bout. It would have deserved to end in a draw. But this trip to the mat convinced 2 of the 3 judges to award victory to the Filipino.
And new champion from the Philippines, Manny Pacquiao.
Pacquiao left in a blaze of glory, but with the feeling that this affair was far from over. More determined than ever, Pacman got up on the spot.
People are cheering Márquez. We got us to fight this time, folks, as if we didn't the first 3 times. Look at these guys loading up shots. Here comes the bell in the 3rd round. Whoa, how about that at the bell?
The round ended in a fist fight. One blow was enough for Márquez to turn the tide, but it would take more to end it. The fight becomes even more intense. It became asphyxiating. The 2 men alternated high points and returned blow for blow. Pacquiao hits more, but Dinamita proves to be the more precise. Each of his counters brought the MGM Grand Garden Arena to its feet, aware that it was witnessing a fight of anthology. In the 5th reprise, Márquez is counted out on his feet after landing a knee.
But it was enough to get you off balance, so down goes Márquez.
He responds in kind, but Pacman regains the ascendancy. His rival, 5 years his senior, is in a bad way. He corners him to finish him off.
He may be. There's a shot. He is. He doesn't hang on. He fires back.
Mentally, the Mexican holds his ground, but the round has left its mark on his body and on the judges' minds. At this rate, defeat is assured.
Probably to seal this round. This was a tremendous tactical error, I think, by Juan Márquez. Finally runs the knockout again.
Arms in a V shape, Márquez celebrates what he believes to be his victory. With his head down, the WBO welterweight champion doesn't have much to say. When the result is announced, the audience is stunned.
To the winner by majority decision, and still WBO welterweight champion of the world, the fighting pride of the Philippines, Manny Pacquiao.
Whistles were heard. Visually, Dinamita seemed to have dominated the fight. Numerically, Pacman was the most effective. The fate of the match still hung in the balance. Juan Manuel felt wronged and demanded his ultimate revenge. The next time he crosses paths with his rival, he can't afford to leave the final decision to the judge. To defeat him, he'll have to knock him out. Bloody nose, Dinamita gasps for air. He concentrates his strength, aware of the challenge ahead. Opposite him, Pacquiao seems equally scarred, but the Filipino has seen it all before. There's electricity in the air. There's no doubt that this sixth round will be decisive. The rivalry comes to an end. Fresher, Pacquiao continues his undermining work. His super powerful blows reduce his opponent's face to Sharpie. But he seems to be rushing a little. Throwing himself into the fray with panache is part of his style. But Pacman seems far less methodical than usual. His guard is low, too low. For his part, Márquez had planned everything. He knew what he had to do to put Pacquiao out for good, and had worked on it at length in training. The minutes ticked away as the unbelievable happened.
And India back into a war again to end the sixth round. Manny went down. He opened the body shot. I don't know if he can get up from this.
Straight on the chin.
He got up from the chin.
It's done.
He's knocked out. Manuel Márquez has done it. He's knocked out Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao is still out. And now he's hurt.
At the gong, Pacquiao crashed face first into the ground. Lightning struck. In a fraction of a second, Márquez placed his special. The combination he had been looking for since the start of the fight. A feint on the weak side to create the gap, followed by a devastating counter. The Mexican put all his frustration into his right. All the tension built up over 8 years. The perfect shot. The kind you never recover from. As he contemplates the Filipino lying on the ring apron, Dinamita struggles to realize. Standing in the corner, the same one where he had stood 13 months earlier, in front of a hall that had rallied to his cause, Márquez savors his triumph. After 42 rounds of unprecedented violence, he had finally done it. He, the man of many belts, has just accomplished the greatest feat of his immense career. He explains, Manny Pacquiao is a superb fighter. I threw the perfect punch. I knew he could knock me out at any moment.
Thanks, Manny. Again. You are a great fighter. Great fighter.
Praised by press and public alike, this fourth round was named Fight of the Decade by the WBO. There were insistent rumors of another rematch, but at the age of 40, Dinamita was finished with the story. The Filipino people wanted a fifth fight. But why? I'll never be able to match what I did in our last confrontation. The show was too good to risk spoiling it with one fight too many. Everything had already been said. Márquez hung up his gloves less than 2 years later. After taking a break to concentrate on his political career, Pacquiao returned to challenge Floyd Mayweather in a dream matchup that had been postponed for too long. Unfortunately, the so-called fight of the century failed to match the fight of the decade. The night Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Márquez delivered their masterpiece. A striker and a defender. Their chemistry in the ring was like a dance. A choreography as deadly as it was spectacular. With them, boxing never lived up so well to its name of sweet science.